Welcome back to my channel. My name is Olive. I got a lot of requests for a video specifically targeting the hands and the wrists in terms of mobilizing and strengthening them. I'm covering 5 different sections: mobility, tendon health, body weight resistance, strength, and recovery. For each of the sections, I have 3 different drills, which I'm going to do for 2 sets each. In terms of equipment, what you're going to need to grab is a small looped monster band. If you don't have one of these, you could fill a water bottle up with water and that will do also just fine today. You're also going to need either a ping pong ball or a tennis ball, or ideally a frozen golf ball for one of the sections. And we will start sitting down. We're going to start with the 3 mobility drills, each of them kind of targeting a different type of rotation. The first one we're going to look at is looking a little bit at pronation and supination for the joints. So clasp the hands together relatively tight. We're going to do 5 circles clockwise and 5 circles anti-clockwise. So focusing on the rotation mainly in the wrist. So try not to get the elbows or shoulders too involved. Nice. And then changing direction. So as you can see, we're exploring a little bit of pronation and supination here in this drill. Lovely. And then bring it all the way back and relax. Second one we're looking at is looking at flexion and extension for the wrist. I call this one paint the fence. You'll see why in a second. So both arms out in front of you, fingers pointing down in the flex position, and we're going to paint up the fence. And then as we come all the way to the top, we flick the hands, coming into extension and paint all the way down. We're going to go 5 in total each way, so painting up, and flick and painting down. You might notice a difference between the wrists in terms of their mobility. That's fine, it's quite common. It's just another tool to help understand yourself. Okay, we're going to go one more time, each way. And then down. Okay, and then shake it out. The last one, we're looking at radial and ulnar deviation. Radial deviation being inwards sort of movement. It's looking at the radius bone, and ulnar being that way, looking at the ulnar bone. So I don't really know what to call this one apart from piano hands. So what you're going to do from here, turn out and then turn in. 5 each way. You'll notice that it's really quite hard to find a lot of range for the radial deviation, a little bit more restricted. Try not to flare the elbows as well as you do it. Beautiful. And then relax, shake it out. So just to build those neural pathways, we're going to go through each of those drills one more time. So starting with the rotations, hands clasped together, 5, one way. Just kind of listening to the hands as you do so. Do you notice any clicks? Any twinges? Other way? Are there any movements that feel particularly good? Nice. And then release, back to paint the fence, 5 and 5, going up and gliding down. Again, these 3 drills are just to help lubricate the joints. They've got something called synovial fluid between the joints, which is just there to help them move smoothly over one another. Lovely, and last one. And then release and shake it out. Okay, last one, piano hands. You're going to turn in, and you're going to turn out. Again, try not to let the elbows flare too much. If you want to, you could have the elbows in by the side. Maybe T-Rex arms is more appropriate. Okay, last one. And then release and relax. And that's the mobility section. In this next section, we're looking at 3 drills for tendon gliding. Tendon gliding is important because it maintains movement, force production, and a functional grip for your hands. So let's begin. The first one, you're going to take 2 hands together and we're coming into a controlled fist. So you're slowly going to curl the fingertips down towards the top of the palm of the hand and then down into a nice tight fist, finishing with the thumbs on top. Then you gradually uncurl and come to extend. Slowly extending. We're going to go for 10 here. So you don't need to rush this. We're just taking our time, but really making sure we're closing down, squeezing the fist and extending at the top. Lovely. I started doing these quite a lot because I really injured my hands, and they made a real wonderful difference. But tendons are something that you got to be patient with. They take a long time to heal. Last one. And then release. And you don't always notice the benefits of it straight away, but it's good to do. All right, the second one, we're going to do something called the duck. So from arms extended, you're going to close all fingers down into this little like duck beak and then extend. Again, tight and extend. Like a little shadow puppet, all the shapes you would create. Nice. Again, really try to focus on the difference, squeezing and then extending. I quite like to add a little bit of like sort of plyo or ping back when I extend, just to change the speed up. Nice. Last one. Okay, so the last one is very, very similar, but this time we're going to take each finger tip to the thumb and we're going to squeeze. So index to thumb, squeeze. Middle finger to thumb, squeeze. Ring finger, squeeze. Pinky, squeeze. And we go again. Again, this one's a little bit more independent for each of the tendons, focusing a little bit more specifically on each of the fingers. And we're going to go for 10 in total, each time resetting with the index finger touching. I do apologize if my counting is off as I do this. I'm trying to guide and count. But we go for estimates. If I'm wrong, you know what to do. All right. Now let's go for one more. Beautiful. And then release. Cool. So we're going to circle through those 3 drills one more time. So let's start with hands extended coming down into the controlled fist for 10. And I don't know about you, but I'm already getting quite a bit of feedback in my tendons and my hands. Not necessarily fatigue, but they're like, hello, we're here. We can notice what's going on. But I find that these drills are particularly useful to do for climbers. I occasionally climb. Even if I've been sat at my desk typing a lot, it's pretty good for carpal tunnel, sort of prehab. Yeah, and it also helps with your grip strength. Okay, we've got 2 more. Ooh. And then release, shake it off. Into the duck for 10. The reason why grip strength is important, there was a study done, now I can't remember who it was done by, but they found that your grip strength is linked to your biological age. The weaker your grip strength, the higher your biological age is, which is quite interesting. So if you have a weaker grip strength, you age quicker. And we do see it in older people if they can't pick themselves up, which is interesting. Let's go 2 more. So hands, super important. That's why you're watching this video. And release. All right, last one. We're taking to the thumb. We're going to go for 10 again. Again, imagine you're trying to like pop a blueberry between the thumb and the finger. So you're really trying to squeeze it down. Lovely. And this stuff is quite easy to do, right? Like you could literally just do it when you're making a cup of tea, if you're watching TV, even if you're typing, take a little break. Like it's so accessible to do. And it's just quite a nice way to bring in like a little bit of extra movement. I think we've got 2 more. And last one. And then release and shake it off. Okay, and that concludes the tendon gliding. For the third section, we're going to look at 3 drills to help build strength by just using our body. So we're going to begin by coming into some palm circles. You're going to start in a tabletop position and you're going to spread your hands nice and wide and try to push down into your fingertips. The reason why I say use your fingertips is so that we don't just bear all of our weight down into the heel of our hand. It's like if I was to walk, but then only ever walk on my heels, I'm not using the rest of my foot. So, in our tabletop position, spread the fingers, push down into the fingertips, and we're going to do 5 circles clockwise and 5 circles anti-clockwise. So again, just nice and small to begin with. Circling around, loading differently through the fingertips fingertips, the heel of the hand, the inner edge and the outer edge of the hand. Just kind of learning that distribution. And then circle the other way. Again, whilst we're here, we might notice a difference between our ability to engage through different areas of the hand and between the hands. All right. And then bringing it all the way back, just giving the hands a little shake, a little roll. So the next one is an inverted push-up or elbow push-up. This is where we're going to turn the palms up to face us. It's quite an unusual position to do because we're always in this sort of deep extension position, whether it's in our yoga practice or other movement practices. We're never ever really loading onto our hands like this, but it's a really nice prehab drill to do just for forearm and for wrist health. So you're going to flip the palms up, and to start with, have the shoulders a little bit further behind, so you're actually bringing some of your weight down into your toes or down into your heels, because it can feel quite intense. And what we're going to do from here is bend the elbows, lower the chest towards the ground, and then push away. So I'm going to go for 10 in total. Now, as you begin to get more and more familiar with this kind of position, if you would like, you can start to take the weight out of the heels, so you're bringing the shoulders further forwards, stacking them more over the wrists. But again, you're in control of how much resistance you add by maneuvering your body. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to go for 2 more. And last one. As you come up, just give the fingers a little wriggle and then take them away. Cool. So the last one, we're going to come back to our tabletop position, and we're looking at a heel lift and then the fingertip lift. I quite like this one because you get some real nice feedback up towards the muscles in your forearm, which are sort of integral as well towards wrist and hand health. So, spreading the fingers nice and wide. You're going to lift just the heel of the hand, so keep the fingers down, and then relax. And then just lift the fingers, really challenging. Keep the palm down and relax. You're going to go 5 each way. So again, heel, down, and then fingers. That one's particularly hard, relax. So just keep switching between the two, nice and slow. Try not to rush it too much. Lovely. Up. Last one. And then left. Ooh, all right, and release. Okay, let's cycle through those all one more time each. So rotations, let's go anti-clockwise to start with for 5. Again, remember, circles as big or as small as you fancy. Beautiful. And then change direction, moving the other way. Nice. And last one. Okay, and releasing. Inverted elbow push-ups. Flip the palms up, fingertips facing one another. Again, decide how much load you want to put forwards into the wrists, and then when you're ready, chest down and pressing away for 10. Beautiful. I really, really enjoy this one because it's such an unusual movement pattern to do. Like, where in our day-to-day life would we ever do something like this? So it just feels like it's doing a bunch of good. Last 2. And final one. Okay, and then wriggle and release. All right, final one, heel and finger lifts. Let's start with the finger lifts to begin with. So lift the fingers, down, and then heel. 5 and 5 each way. Beautiful. Again, lift, control, heel. So try not to lean back as well into your heels when you lift the fingers. Last one. And then relax. Cool. So coming into our 4th section, I've got 3 strength drills. involving this little monster band. If you don't have a monster band, what you could do is fill a thin water bottle full of water and use that as a little bit of resistance. So we're going to start with some banded flexion and extension, so flexion and extension. What I like to do is to prop my knee up. I loop the band around the sole of my foot. Then I'm going to hold it into my hand and pull it up so that my forearm is resting on my knee. Ideally, we kind of want the start of my wrist to be on the edge of my knee. If it's out here, then I'm kind of using my elbow and my shoulder to lift the resistance band as opposed to just my wrist. So we want to isolate it. With my other hand, I kind of pin it down. And from here, we're coming down into flexion and then up into extension. I'm going to go 5 each way. So if you were with a water bottle, exact same setup, except you're just holding the water bottle in your hand, but you're still pinning the elbow down. And then 1 more each way. And then release. Same thing on the other side. Same setup. Beautiful. And then again for 5 each way. I always like doing this individually on each side to see which one is weaker, which one's stronger. Last one. All right, okay. Take it back to the right hand side. This time we are looking at banded ulnar and radial deviations. So ulnar being that way, radial being that way. So same setup. This time you're gripping the band or holding the water bottle like this, pulling it up so it's level, and then we come down and then moving up. I find this one particularly challenging. It's really, really hard to not cheat. Again, I'm going to do 5 each way. Last one. And then release, swap it onto the other leg. And if you do it right, it's really, really fatiguing for the muscles and for the joints in that area. Nice. And last one. Okay. All right, so the last drill using the band is looking at the supinated grip. And it's a supinated curl. So same setup again. This time, your palm is facing up. A good way to remember supinated is I'm holding a bowl of soup like that. I don't hold a bowl of soup like that. So you're going to set yourself up. You might need to be a little bit further away or readjust. But from here, I'm going to start by peeling open the hand. And then peeling it, curling it in. Peeling it open and curling it in. In an ideal world, it's probably easier to do this with a water bottle than it is with a resistance band. In an ideal world, you'd do this with like maybe a kilo to a 3 kilo dumbbell, something that can kind of easily glide over the hands, but we make do with this resistance band. It's not the end of the world. We're doing 10 in total, so I've got 3 more. And my forearm muscles are getting so pumped. All right, last one. Okay, and then release, take it to the other side. Same setup. Again, curl open to the fingers and then curl into the fist. Try bring it in. Going for 10. My left side is so much weaker than my right, which makes sense. I'm right hand dominant, so, you know. Did you see what I was doing there? I was cheating. I was pulling my elbow down to my thigh. That's not good. Try keep the elbow elevated. And again, curl in with just the wrist. Whew. Okay, 2 more. And last one. All right, and release. Okay. Beautiful news is that we got to do them all one more time. Set yourself up. Looking at banded flexion and extension. So I'm going to turn side on so you can see a little bit more of my positioning with my elbows. Remember, we're doing 5 and 5 each way. Only moving into my wrist and the hand. And then release onto the other side. Again, 5 and 5 each way. Cheating. I'm really trying not to use it, but it's just happening. Alright, next one, banded ulnar and radial deviation. Again, prop yourself up, moving up to radial, down to ulnar. Radial, we have less range, ulnar, we have more. But again, try not to let the elbow, the shoulder move up with you. Last one. Okay, second side, and down, and up. Again, try not to cheat too much. Beautiful. Last one. Okay. And then finally, those supinated curls, bane of my life. They're so hard, but they're good. All right, uncurl, and then into a fist. As hard as they are, they feel like they're doing the right thing in terms of really strengthening some key muscles and key muscle groups. Beautiful. But hand health, I find, is something so underrated. We always forget to train, or never do, or just take them for granted. But they're so integral for so many reasons. Got 2 more. And I say that from experience. Whew. For maybe the past 2 years or so, my hands have always suffered injuries. If I injure myself, it's always in my hands. The amount of sprains and tendon issues I had for ages, making washing my hair difficult. So I try not to take my hands for granted, because not having a good working pair can be so detrimental to so many other factors in life. Okay. Let's go 2 more, especially as a yoga teacher and PT. I couldn't do my job. Last one. Okay, and that is the strength section done. So to finish off with some lovely little bit of recovery, this is where you're going to get your frozen golf ball or your tennis ball, whatever it is. Reason why I say frozen golf ball, it's quite a nice small size for the hands, and also by freezing it, it just helps to reduce any potential inflammation. It's also just quite nice in terms of the sensory feeling. So with that, you're just going to massage out the palm of your hand. And just quite intuitive. You be here for as long as you want. Come to your fingertips or wherever. I always really enjoy a hand massage if I ever go for a full body massage. Head, hands and feet. It's the best. Again, just swap whenever you like. But yeah, this is a really, really integral part of my day-to-day life. I always like to spend a bit of time in the evenings just rolling out my hands. If I haven't been able to do any of, the 4 sections that we covered today. All right. Then you could also take it up to your forearms, rolling up and down. And just taking it up and down there. And to the other side. Ideally not with clothing, it makes it a little bit harder. But anyways, we're here. And then the final one, a little bit weirder to kind of get into. I mean, you can do this on the inside of the forearms, like that, but my personal favorite way, it just looks a bit bizarre, is to squeeze the ball in between both of your forearms and then roll it along. I find this mildly ticklish, a bit squeamish. Equally, you could do it like that. There we go. I can't be bothered to edit that out. You can have my failed attempt at rolling. All right. So there we have it. Covered hopefully quite a lot of stuff for you to take with you, from joint work, tendon health, resistance training with a body, resistance training with an extra weight, and some lovely recovery. If you've got any questions about anything that I covered, feel free to pop them in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know. Thanks for joining, and I will see you next time.